Welcome back to Hannity. 2016 Republican presidential candidate, Ohio Governor John Kasich. Well, he's been spending a lot of time campaigning in New Hampshire, and he's now seeing a major bump in the polls. The latest CNN WMUR poll for the Granite State, it now shows Donald Trump on top with 34%, Ted Cruz in second with 14%, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio both have 10%, and there is a three-way tie. Chris Christie, John Kasich, and Rand Paul all have 6%. Now, that doesn't tell the full story. A new American Research Group poll shows Trump in first with 27%, John Kasich in second place in this poll with 20%, and a recent One American News Network Gravis poll tells a similar story, showing John Kasich in second with 15% and trailing only Trump, who has 35%. Joining us now, the man himself, 2016 Republican presidential candidate, Ohio Governor John Kasich. How do you get 20% in second place one day, and then the next day you get a poll that has you at 6%? Can you help me out with that?
Well, Sean,
that didn't change that much overnight.
No. Look, there have been 7 polls here within the last couple of weeks, and I'm in second place in 6 out of 7. So, you know, you're always going to have an aberration. But we're definitely peaking up, and people feel it in the state. In fact, I was told today one of the Chamber of Commerce executives in front of a chamber meeting, about 150 people, said, I'm going to make a prediction, Kasich's going to win New Hampshire. Look, I don't know how it's all going to go at the end, Sean, but we have the best ground game. You remember Gordon Humphrey, the former United States Senator. He says he thinks we have the best ground game that he's seen in 40 years. So we've got a good ground game. I've done more town halls, and when you get 6 out of 7 polls putting you up so high, there's real cause for optimism. But, you know, in politics, things, you know, they're unpredictable. You know, you got to expect the unexpected, and it always happens. So we'll see.
All right, so how do things feel for you on the ground in New Hampshire? You've spent more time there than Iowa, and let's say you do get second place in New Hampshire. Is that good enough?
Well, if we become a story, and if I finish in second place, you know, I think probably it is a pretty big story. And the challenge for me, Sean, you know, I'm not the celebrity candidate. People don't really know me across the country, so the national polls have always lagged. And my game plan has always been to do well here because it's only 1.2 million people. It's like running for Congress. And to be able to move here, and we are already on the ground in South Carolina, in Nevada. We are on the ballot in well over 30 states. You know, we think we will do very well in the South. For example, Mississippi, where we have the best organization headed by Trent Lott, Congressman Harper. You know, we're doing well in many states in the South, and at some point we head north and we get to Illinois and Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, all places where we believe we will do very well. So, you know, we think we're very well positioned, and I feel good. And you know what's really working, Sean, as I tell people, you know, I know we have problems, but we can solve these problems. I've been around long enough to see us solve some of the most vexing problems. Of course, the issues of jobs and national security. And I think people want to hear that while we have serious problems, they want to know that at the end we can fix them.
What do you make of this election cycle? I mean, you could say the year of the outsider, the year of the insurgency candidate. I know when you worked with Newt, you weren't exactly loved in mainstream or establishment at the time. I think you were pretty hated at the time yourself, but maybe they've gotten used to you now and they like you a little bit more. But there's obviously a reason for this. What do you think it is?
Well, I think people, look, Sean, I think people feel like if they don't have power or money or a lobbyist, they don't matter. And so part of what I've had to do is explain to them when, you know, you got a father who's a mailman and a grandfather who's a coal miner and a mother whose mother can't speak English. You know, I live that. That's my DNA, and I've always been a person who's fought for the underdog throughout my career. But one of the network reporters said he actually thinks there's 3 lanes. There's the establishment lane, the anti-establishment lane, and the John Kasich lane. I kind of like that, you know. Yeah. And I got to win my own lane because I'm the only one in it. And you know, that's sort of that combination of being able to work with the establishment yet not being part of the establishment. Always a reformer, always a change agent. And you remember those days when we balanced the budget, and the same thing has happened in Ohio. So you know, I don't support the status quo, and I want to be a voice for people who often feel as though they have no say.
Well, then, I've allowed Ted Cruz, and we're in the process now of giving the candidates an opportunity for what I'm calling closing arguments. We had Donald Trump. We've had Marco Rubio on. We'll have Jeb Bush on later. My question for you is, give your closing argument heading into Iowa. Now, I know you're not competing in Iowa the way you are in New Hampshire. Fair statement?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Okay. So your closing arguments on why people really need to go for you.
Well, Sean, I am the most experienced. I served 18 years on the Defense Committee, and then Donald Rumsfeld invited me into the Pentagon after 9/11, where I kind of moved in and out for 2.5, 3 years, helping to solve technology problems. I've been a reformer of the Pentagon while supporting a strong defense, more foreign policy experience than anyone in the field. I was the chief architect of balancing the budget, which allowed us to create jobs and pay down $500 billion of surplus. And then I left for 10 years into the private sector, then coming back into Ohio, where we were way in the hole, and now we're running a surplus, cut taxes more than any sitting governor. We're up 385,000 jobs with strong credit and a pension system that's also strong. And bringing people together, the ability to bring people together to solve problems. I think that's unique, and you know, and then there's one other side of it, and that is, you know, I'm just me.
All right, fair. And you think you can beat Trump at golf too, right?
Well, that's not. Well, you know, I don't know. It depends whether we have mulligans or not, Sean. You know the way that goes.
Oh, all right. Governor, good to see you, and we'll see you up in New Hampshire in a couple of weeks. Thanks for being with us.
All right.